Oh. But what is very fresh
Mm.
is the fine produce grown on Clarkson's farm. Daniel, you finished up season 5 after doing your first impressions.
Yes. I got to finishing it up. So I the scheduling I didn't realize what I didn't realize was so the last two episodes dropped last night, and then the previous two episodes dropped the week before. So I actually did have time to watch all four last four episodes for this show. And so the mainly what happens on the farm from from the back half of the season is you have different things cropping up, no pun intended. um they're still kind of dealing, Clarkson's still dealing with some issues with the pub, and then you had oh god what was it was so so Clarkson has a thing for so he's got these two tractors that are they're both Lamborghinis, but one of them was just like if it was a car, you would call it a lemon. It was just not working very well, and so he tries to sell it at an auction, and the he paid £80,000 for it, and I think he sold it for like £74,000, so he lost a lot. So he lost some money on it. Um, and but what was really the real funny episode was when Clarkson decided to host we called it a dare night at the pub, where they were making like a bunch of dishes and food that you wouldn't normally eat, and it was like just like stuff like, oh no way, like fried squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. um uh, uh Snail escargot, or not snail escargot, that's redundant. Snail caviar.
Yes. Snail eggs?
Snail eggs, yeah. And like pig's ears, tripe, lamb brain, just a whole bunch of, like, oh yeah. And then for the palate cleanser, quote unquote, uh he had a guy he worked with a few seasons before making hot sauce, and the guy made this hot sauce that, if you know anything about like how they measure like the spiciness or the hotness of
Right. The Schofield, right?
Schofield, right? This one that this guy made, it was 15 million on the Schofield.
Oh my.
Yeah, and then he made a couple other ones that were lower than that, like 7 million and 8 million, and no, Ninja, not no, I didn't have a block of cheese, and block of cheese. What was it? Was that one of them? I can't remember. Um, but uh, but yeah. So they try it out, and of course, the guy that made the chili is just like, oh man, this is gonna be really hot. And Clarkson said, "Not since Oppenheimer have I seen somebody so terrified of their own creation." Yeah. And so they take, they put a little dab of it on a piece of bread, and they both eat it, and they're kind of sitting there like, and the guy's like, well, maybe it's not so bad. And Clarkson's like, no, it's really bad. And like Clarkson goes over
Classic guy Knight's behavior.
oh yeah. Clarkson goes over to the beer tap, and he's like, drink the beer. uh, um, but so they added that for the palate cleanser at the end, and this poor guy actually got sick. He actually went outside and was heaving over the side of the deck, and there's one guy that's just like, his shirt was just drenched in sweat. um, but then of course the last two episodes, however, were very somber. And Jeremy Clarkson actually posted a reel on Instagram warning everybody about that, like the day of the episodes dropping. So okay, so if you've been on Twitter today, you probably saw some of the posts. In the second to last episode, Clarkson revealed that he had a very aggressive form of prostate cancer, and but he did say they caught it early, so seemed like it was so it was treatable, and it wasn't devastating or anything, like not horribly devastating. But I don't think in the scene where he does that, I don't think it was rehearsed, because I mean the looks on Caleb and Charlie's faces were like shock, and Caleb was actually getting emotional about it. I think I mentioned that in my first review, that when Jeremy had his heart problems, like Caleb was legitimately worried about him. Like he was very concerned, and you could see like he was getting emotional about it. And but yeah, so there was that. And of course they bring it up because he had to go in for his treatments during the harvest, and unfortunately that didn't go very well for him, because so the previous season it rained nonstop for him, for most of the year. Then this season, not a drop of rain, so they were going through a drought, which meant they weren't getting nearly as many, or getting nearly as high of a yield on their crops as they had in the past. I mean, they showed their mustard seed area was just like a little pile of mustard seeds. And they also tried to plant onions, and can't remember what the other one was, what the other crop was, and the crops failed to grow. And but then of course there's also with their cows. So season 2, I believe, was when Clarkson they brought in the cows, and that year was also when they had an outbreak of bovine tuberculosis, which there is no cure for that. So if a cow gets TB, that's it. The cows has to be put down. And so what happened here was that they were testing them all, and the way they did the test, and I kind of agree with Clarkson, it seemed very haphazard. They take like a little measuring whatever those called, where you not like it's kind of like a wrench, and what they do is they measure these lumps on them. Yeah, not really a wrench. It's I don't know what they're called.
Calipers, maybe, or
Caliper, yeah, something like that. Yeah, and they measure the lumps on there, and they see how big the lumps are. And so as they're doing it, one of the cows was borderline in terms of the size of the lump, and then actually 2 of the cows were borderline on the size of the lump, and unfortunately one of those cows was his bull, end game, that they call him, and he's like just a great bull. He's very he's a strapping guy, as they say, and he's got some good genes in him, and of course now they're like, oh God, is he sick? But then they took like the last cow that they did was she was pregnant with twins, and they said it was inconclusive, so they thought that she might have had it. And so they quarantined her, and then they also quarantined Endgame, because they're worried that they don't want him getting sick. And then so they went back and tested the cow again with the twins. Once again, the tests came back inconclusive, and apparently, if you get 2 inconclusive tests with TB, they have to put the cow down. Which
so you just lost a linchpin of your operation.
Yes, yeah, and needless to say, Clarkson was not happy about that at all. And of course, the real kicker was in the last episode when Charlie comes back to him and says, they put the cow down and then they did a post-mortem, and it turns out the cow didn't have TB.
Oh no.
Yeah. And Clarkson said, the expression blood is boiling. He said, my blood's boiling right now. And I don't blame him, because, he lost a cow and 2 calves because the cow might have had tuberculosis.
And then it didn't.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of and then there was another one where there was a calf that had pneumonia, and she wasn't getting any better, so they put her in a pen with her mom, and the calf was just never getting better, and they figured out it was because when the calf was born, it wasn't getting enough. Right after it was born, she didn't get enough nutrients from the mom's milk, and so she didn't have a good immune system. So they're like, okay, so they just said, okay, well, you have to put her down. So it was just, it was, there was just a lot of stuff like that happening, and
it's kind of amazing that any farms survive whatsoever when you get down to it.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them, and sadly, a lot of them don't. A lot of them do end up having to shut down because they don't have enough money to to keep going, and that was the thing at the end of the show when Clarkson's going through the numbers and everything, and he actually lost about 5,000 pounds for the year, and so he looked at Charlie, his farm guy, and he said, I got to pay. He said he has to pay him 75,000 pounds out of his own pocket to fund the next season's all the farming and everything, for like the seed and the fertilizer and everything, feed and
Right, like not everybody has their grand tour money to throw into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that was what Clarkson. He, I know he said it in aggravation, but it was when the cow, with the twins had, said that she had to be put down, and he's like, why does anybody do farming? Because stuff like that happening. But and of course the last image or the last video we have in the season is Clarkson right back in a hospital bed. He said, the season started with him in a hospital bed and ended with him in a hospital bed.
So just a regular downer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that was kind of the thing at the last dinner that they're having, where they're trying to focus on like positive things that happened. They got some new, the automated, farming equipment they've got worked out really well. Oh, and there was this young woman that that came in. She was like a bird lady who was helping identify all the different birds that are around the farm, and she's very quirky. I think she spends most of her time with birds and not so much time with people. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's some positive things that happen. Like did I mention Caleb had another baby?
I don't know that you did, but good for him.
Yeah, he had his third kid. What else? Well, it sounds like the pub is doing better. And and they got some sheep that are like easy care sheep. They don't have to shear them or anything like that, and they're actually more obedient, and they're producing some great lambs.
So these are less wool sheep and more meat sheep, or
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've been on this 5-season journey with Clarkson.
Yeah.
It sounds like you would strongly recommend it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't watched this show yet and you have a Prime subscription, yeah, you definitely need to watch it. Yeah.
I did see some jokes about they spent $1 billion on Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and more people watched these two British guys trying to run a farm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't remember who it was that pointed it out, but they said, yeah, because Clarkson's Farm has more likable characters.
Yep. Well, sounds like okay, I'm not going to say the season sounds like a good time, but it sounds like an investing time.
It is. Yeah.